Hi guys, welcome to our very first member spotlight interview. I am here with Silvia Schulz with Win with Words, and let's just hop straight in. I'm so excited to be interviewing you today. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. So tell us a little bit about your company today, what you do, and where you're based.
Yeah, thank you so much, Janai, for having me here and doing an interview. Pretty exciting stuff. I'm based in Amsterdam now, but I'm originally from Germany. I started out as a technical translator and really changed my business over the past years to now kind of full-time copywriter and SEO consultant. I mainly help small companies with their German web content. I work a lot with foreign companies that also offer their services in Germany, especially Dutch companies, but also other companies, software as a service businesses, e-commerce businesses. I also work with some Dutch marketing agencies, helping them with their German clients. And I also get requests almost every week to help companies fix their bad German translations. And so that's like one of my main businesses, what I do these days.
Awesome. Lot has changed. What do you love most about what you do? What's your favorite?
Yeah, so I think that's the opposite of what I used to do. So I was a technical translator, translating boring user manuals that no one ever read. And it felt quite pointless to spend a lot of time on these manuals and translate them into nice German. And so what I do now is very different. It's like basically the website of a company is their, showroom to their customers, to potential customers, to their leads. So it has to sound nice. So I really like helping companies to attract new clients, to be successful as businesses, especially small business owners, to get more traffic to our websites with content that's nice, engaging, is well written, and to actually see the progress they're making and working one-on-one with them and really see how their ranking goes up, like how our website performs better, how they get more leads. It's much more satisfying to see actual results and that we're actually thriving because of the work we're doing. So it's rewarding for me.
Do you really feel like you're making a big difference and a big impact in other people's like businesses and things?
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like useless user guides that really no one reads.
Cool. So for those who might be interested in SEO services, what's the top thing people looking for like SEO copywriting or similar services should either know or really ask about before they hire a company like yours?
So yeah, that's actually really tricky because there are a lot of scammers out there. SEO is not like a certified profession. Everybody can claim they know SEO or that they're SEO experts. So you don't really know like if you can trust the company. And most people, business owners, they know they need to do something with SEO and with their websites, but they don't know anything about SEO. So they can easily be tricked. A lot of small customer or small clients, they pay way too much for the services, for instance, or they don't know what they need. So I think, first of all, you should also educate yourself a little bit about what SEO is so that you don't get scammed, and try to work with a trustworthy person, hop on a call with them, talk to them, see like some testimonials. Did they help other customers? That's one of the main things, to really choose like the right company, the right provider, and don't get scammed. There are also like fishy SEO practices that called black hat SEO that will ultimately damage the ranking of your website. For instance, if a company may buy some fishy backlinks. So it's something you should really avoid. So yeah, I think the main thing is to find somebody you can trust, a reputable company, maybe get referrals from others that have worked with that person. I think that's one of the main points I would recommend to do.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so how long you joined the Inner Circle back in, was it 2016?
Yes, so I had to check before our interview and go back to all the old emails. Yeah, indeed, it was in November 2016 when I joined. So that's 5.5 years ago. I was like, wow, that's such a long time ago.
So take me back a little bit to back then, or take us back. I remember, but people watching won't. So what did your business look like when you first joined us in the Inner Circle?
All right, I have like paper because I'm a copywriter, so I'm not like the greatest of speakers, so I have some notes. So yeah, I went back to our old emails, and the feeling I had at the time in 2016 was like overwhelmed. I didn't feel like a business owner. I was just a translator. I became a translator more by chance because I worked for a Japanese translation agencies in those days, but I lost my in-house job as a project manager, and the company offered me to become a translator, a freelance translator, and work for them as a freelancer. So I took that opportunity, but I had like no formal training, to be honest, in translation or like the business side of things. So I made a lot of mistakes at that time. I was pretty unhappy. I worked like day and night. I accepted every project that came along my way, even if I didn't like it. I was just kind of drawn by the money. I've got new clients, but maybe clients, they found me and not the other way. I didn't reach out to them, but they found me with jobs I also didn't like a lot, like very technical translations that were really boring. But I did it anyway. It was like short deadlines, working on the weekends. I felt like I was not in charge. I was like an employee with bad like working conditions.
You had like the worst boss ever.
So yeah, even though I actually did make good money, but I was quite miserable, to be honest. I felt like I wasn't in charge of my business. I didn't even have a business. I didn't have a brand. I didn't have a business name at that time. I was, just like a freelance translator that kind of ended up in that position without really making active choice about it. And that, made me feel like, I was quite unhappy with the situation. I also didn't really grow. I was always doing the same things, even after a few years. I was pretty isolated because I lived in Japan at that time, in Tokyo. And in that time, it was around from 2012 to 2016. We didn't really have all these networking opportunities we have nowadays, like from the internet. And of course, there was Facebook, but there wasn't LinkedIn, wasn't a thing yet. It was really hard to find other business owners, like other people that had the same problems that I have. I felt like really isolated working there by myself in a foreign country. So basically that was the situation. In 2016, when we met at the first time, I had just relocated to the Netherlands, and I started to reach out to other people, other business owners, and then I came across your program, and that really was the first step in a huge change for me, to be honest.
Awesome. So what actually got you to join the Inner Circle, and what's been your experience so far? Has it helped you?
I think I was attracted at that time. You had like a free webinar, like how to build a six-figure business or so. And I was really drawn to that and say, hey, is it possible, like as a translator, to build a six-figure business? And you also had the mantra, you don't need to like work non-stop to reach that. You can be productive, increase your productivity. I've never really worked on my productivity before that. I didn't have any systems. So I think watching your webinar was like a window in a different sort of world, to be honest. And I was like really smitten right away. And they had like a one-on-one call, I remember. And I think I signed up to your program directly afterwards because I felt like you really understood my problems. I really felt you could help me to change my business, get control of it, get control of my schedule, my clients, and move in a different direction.
And what features in particular inside the Inner Circle, because there's a lot of features, but which ones have really been helpful for you specifically as you've grown and worked through the process?
Yeah, so I think we really evolved over the years. Focused a lot on the translators, and you had little modules to work through, like little, I don't know, how do you call them?
Like courses?
Lessons? Courses, yeah. So I did a few, I started with some of those courses about branding. I think that one was one of the first things I actually did. Also how to make a proper CV, like really simple things you think everybody should know who works as a freelancer, but no.
Yeah.
And for all these things, and things really evolved over time. My biggest problem at that point was also that I was too involved in my business. I didn't have enough time to work on my business, so progress was kind of slow because I didn't make enough time to really work on it and do these modules. So that's why it took me like years to kind of progress, but thank God I did it. So it was really slowly progress, and then you added new features to your program. So one of the things that has helped me a lot is also the monthly mastermind we do. It's more like a goal setting event, always the last Friday of every month, where we sit down and we look at, did we achieve like the goals from last month, what went right, what went wrong, like we share our wins in the group, which is also nice to hear what other people can celebrate or what they're struggling with. And then we set the new goals and have accountability. That's very helpful as well to not only think about the goals like 1 hour a month, but kind of keep reminding yourself, okay, do I make actually progress on those goals every week? And that's where we have that doers board comes in. So that's also one of the things I really like. Well, you know what it is, you set it up. So it's like, yeah, at the beginning of every week or the end of every week, like we write down what are our main goals, like 3 main goals or so for the upcoming week. How many hours are we going to estimate for this to take? Okay, let's speak English. And on what days, for instance, will I actually do that? Because that's also important. If you just set the goals without like dedicating a time slot to it, it often doesn't happen. So say, okay, I need to get back to new leads, and I say, okay, like that's Monday morning from 9 to 10 o'clock. Then I'm actually going to do it on Monday from 9 to 10 o'clock. And that's nice. And at the end of the week, we usually write down like what went right and what went wrong and any takeaways for next week. How can we improve? So that's really good, because having this tracker, like you really stay on top of the things, you don't forget things. Sometimes you're really busy and things kind of totally drop off your list. And so it's nice to go back to a board and say, wait, what was my goal for this month? And I haven't actually reached that yet. Like, why not? How can I tackle this? Or what holds me back? So that's really useful. Gosh, there's so many things I wrote down. What's one of the things that helps me the most? And well, we have a book club every month. That's really awesome too, because like we read book at a book club I wouldn't usually read on my own. And then we talk about it and also try to implement like the learnings in our business. And that's nice because we do it together. If I would just pick up any book and read it by myself, I'll probably never really follow up with the things in a book. So it's nice to talk with others about it and take action. And I think the community aspect is probably the biggest advantage of a program. What has helped me a lot is being part of that community of other ambitious business owners, learning from each other, helping each other. During COVID, we started with daily co-working sessions, which is really awesome. So we have like that dedicated Zoom room, and there's always someone online you can chat with, and we try to stick to like 55-minute sessions and then 1 5-minute breaks. And you can basically find anyone or someone in the room like all day. Like if I start at 9 in the morning, there's like some Europeans in the room, and later in the afternoon, like we start to have people from Canada or from the US. So like all day, like you can work with colleagues, even if you work from home. And especially during COVID was really great when we all felt so isolated as freelancers because we didn't have anywhere to go. That community aspect, that was really an amazing thing we set up. Yes, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, no problem. And even as things have started to open back up, it's still like people are still in there from like morning until all day, different time zones. Cool. I'm so glad all of that's been helpful and worked for you. Can you talk a little bit about your business now and kind of what's changed?
Yeah, so Basically, over the years, it was a slow, painful process, to be honest, but I completely overhauled my business entirely. So as I said, from like kind of unhappy, bored, like technical translator, it took me a long time to really figure out where I wanted to head to. So the branding course I did with you, it helped a lot, but it's not something, you don't really get clarity on that overnight. It's like a slow process. You really need to figure out what do I really want to do? Like, who do I want to work with? Like, how much money do I want to make? How can I get there? What skills do I need? So it was like a very, process that started, especially the transition to copywriting. I think that started for me around 3 years ago. When I thought, okay, how can I actually get into this different business, what kind of clients are there, how does it work, like how do you charge, like, and so on. So it was a long process, but now I'm so happy I went through it. Like I completely fired like all of my old clients. Actually was, I think the last client I fired was like the end of last year. That was still one of my big translation client I fired, and also my old employer from Japan. I also let go of them because they stressed me with a lot of small jobs and very tight deliveries. So I feel like I'm really a business owner. I've like grown into that role. I'm much more self-confident, also negotiating with clients. I think I'm pretty good with sales nowadays and having calls with companies and ask what they need and if I can help them or how I can help them. I'm also much more comfortable to charge more. I think it was one of the things I had problems with, like, am I really worth to charge so much, especially as a woman? Like, I think we have it a little bit ingrained in our DNA or in our upbringing to undercharge and undervalue ourselves. And now I feel like, oh no, I'll charge that. And the funny thing is most people don't even squint, but they say, okay, like, yeah, that's fine. I'm like, man, I should have charged like a little bit more even. And so, I'm much better also setting boundaries. I negotiate the deadlines with my clients instead of letting them negotiate the deadlines, you know what I mean? And really being in charge, running my business. I have like a vision for a future where I want to go to, like an income goal I want to reach. Even thinking ahead, like maybe I want to work with a team in a few years and be more like a strategic business owner, mastermind behind my business and working with other copywriters and do a bulk of the work, things like that. So my business is totally not the same as it used to be. It's completely shifted.
And so I have to ask, you've grown a lot in your business. A lot has changed over the time that I've known you and you've been in the inner circle. So if you could go back to Silvia back in the day, what's one piece of advice that you would give yourself when you started your business?
Yeah, it's like get help, look for community, look for your tribe, try to find like-minded people, mainly it's useful in the same industry because you share the same struggles, but later it's also nice to talk to people in different industries and get like a different perspective. Let's really find a community, find people you find inspiring, people that push you, are willing to give you honest feedback. You don't have to do it all by yourself. Everybody needs some support, sometimes a kick in the butt or just sometimes uplifting words, when something went wrong and you have troubles with a client or so, it's always nice to have somebody can lend an ear and listen. And I think that's the biggest tip. Like, don't isolate yourself, like look for people, find your community and get help, and also get involved with others and also help them back.
And so I've seen a lot of pictures lately, but I have to ask, when you're not working, what can we find you doing, or what's one awesome activity you like to do outside of work?
Yeah, so I'm really like a winter sports person. Even though we live in the flat Netherlands, it's a bit of a problem when it comes to snowboarding. But I really like figure skating. I was Oh, as a child already, I loved like watching the Olympics or one of these events. And in Germany, we have also a very famous figure skater, and she was close from my area, Katharina Witt. She won like several times a gold medal at the Olympic Games back in the days. And I don't know, it's always my dream to learn like how to do figure skating, do crazy things like jumps or pirouettes or so. And then finally, like about 2 years ago, when I was shortly before I turned 40, I started to take figure skating lessons here in Amsterdam, and that's what I still do. Like in the winter season, every Sunday morning, I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning just to go figure skating. And the city is super quiet, and I still take public transport to go to the ice skating ring and trying to learn figure skating. It still looks pretty ridiculous even after the third season. I'm still trying to learn like the simple things, backward skating, for instance, little pirouettes. No jumps yet, they're just like little turns, but it's fun. It's fun, and I find it you can start to learn something even when you're a little bit older. It takes longer, but why not? Like why not learn figure skating at the age of 40? I think my chances to participate in the Olympics are like pretty slim. But it doesn't matter. It's just something I do for myself because it's a little bit pointless because I'll never compete in any competition or so. But it's just fun to do it and learn. Finally, like, kind of this little childhood girl's dream.
Yeah. Well, it's great that you have the space to do that as well in terms of mentally, and just that it really like gives you that boost outside of work. So important because it's so easy for business owners to just be like head to the ground, and just working all the time. So, all right. And then who do you draw inspiration from? Is it the figure skater, somebody else?
Yeah, so definitely, yeah, figure skaters, true, but it's not like for business reasons. Yeah, I find a lot of women inspiring. I have like a lot of female role models I follow on social media, Instagram, for instance. There is Kate Toon, like she's an Australian-based SEO coach, educator, copywriter. Like I'm like a big fangirl of hers. I took a big SEO course and learned the ins and outs of SEO last year. And she's really inspiring. She's very authentic also on social media. Yeah, you should like check her out, also her like social media channels. And she's like, either you like her or you don't like her, but like she causes a reaction and is very authentic and genuine. I really like it. And she's like a great inspiration. She went from being almost broke to running like a huge company, SEO business, offering big courses with the team. So that's quite inspiring to actually get there. Then there's also another like young Dutch lady. She is also active on Instagram, but only in Dutch right now. But I think she'll soon come out in English too because she moved to the US recently. Her name is called Celine Charlotte van de Woud.
And that's a mouthful.
Yeah, that's called Celine Charlotte. It's easier.
Okay.
And she is, I think she's like 10 years, at least 10 years younger than me, maybe even younger. I'm not sure. She's in her late 20s. Really inspiring. She used to be a journalist, but at one point she started to decide to become a business owner, and she set up a business here in Amsterdam, renting out her living room for companies as like really fancy, nice meeting rooms. That was even before we had like all these co-working spaces here in the city, and she became super successful. Like she ended up having like 7 or so venues in Amsterdam and like those really nice buildings by the canals, and became a millionaire from that. But at one point she decided, it doesn't really inspire me anymore. I'll do something different. And so she started to do online courses, courses about Instagram visibility and also about money mindset. And yeah, she's super successful with it. It's really inspiring to see how she has grown her business so much over a short period of time, and she's so successful and so young. She's super inspiring. Followed also some of her courses as well, so maybe I can be the next Celine Charlotte.
I'm looking forward to it. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So Silvia, if somebody's interested in working with you or just following you online, what is the best place or way to do that?
The best place is LinkedIn. So you can follow me on LinkedIn. I don't post so much at the moment. I have to say I'm a bit lazy with my social media strategy. You can also follow me on Instagram, but it's the same. I don't post so much. I want to. But it's some of the things on my to-do list that don't really
Let me make a
happen.
note to kick your butt about that.
So basically, yeah, LinkedIn is a good place. And then if you want to get in touch, you can also sign up on my website, send me a message via my website. I'm always twisting and tweaking my website, trying to automate things, setting up forms that go into my new customer relationship management system to make my life a little bit easier. So
and your website is winwithwords.nl, right?
Yeah, .nl. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Cool.
Yeah. Which I figured out for SEO reasons isn't actually the best domain name, but I didn't know that back in the days.
Is it supposed to be .com or what's the?
Yeah, like because it's in English, like all the copy there is in English, but the domain points to the Netherlands NL, so that's kind of tricky. It's better if it was then in Dutch. And for English, it had like a .com ending, or for German, then a .de ending or so.
No, so that they match.
But something to, improve in the future. I think that's also hard for people who work with websites and SEO. It seems like we have a worst websites. Like we're so busy, like we're improving our client websites that like we don't have enough time to really work on our own websites.
Is that saying the cobbler's children have no shoes or something like that? Cool. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's been really interesting chatting with you, and I'll link Silvia's information with the full interview on YouTube for sure, and on my website at yourentrepreneurs.com. So yeah, thank you so much. I'll see you in co-working probably.
Yeah, co-working or mastermind.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.